to have any meaning whatsoever. Why, oh why, was an innocent man gunned down in cold blood? As the investigation continues, we now know that more people may have had advanced knowledge or forewarning that Charlie Kirk was going to be assassinated. The FBI is centering its focus on a Discord group that the assassin was a part of, and Twitter posts on X and other social media that seem to indicate that other members of that Discord group seem to know and were making ominous statements in the days before the assassination last Wednesday that something big was going to happen. If you want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, as always, we keep the phone lines open every single minute of every single show, and we understand that today and over the past several days, it can help to talk. It can help to vent. It can help to share your feelings with like-minded people who aren't going to call you a fascist or a terrorist for daring to suggest that Charlie Kirk was an innocent man who died for what he believed. 414-799-1130 is our adventknows.com talk and text line. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. We are also streaming live on our YouTube channel, and you can catch us streaming on your iHeartRadio app. Just subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show there or wherever you listen to podcasts. The very latest from this investigation, the suspect, a 22-year-old who was motivated, yes, by far-left radicalized views, who we now know was in a romantic relationship with a transgender roommate who was not actually a roommate, but rather a boyfriend, and was part of a Discord group for other radicalized transgender Utahns who were apparently openly talking about the assassination. The very latest from this investigation, according to the Washington Post, is that the suspect in this Discord group apologized for the assassination, saying, "Guys, it was me." Now, this just came out within the last hour or so. Sources close to the investigation telling the Washington Post that the killer said, "I'm sorry for all this." Now, this according to two people familiar with the message and screenshots obtained by the Washington Post. This, as the platform Discord is coming under a great deal of scrutiny because it has been adamant that this attack was not plotted over one of its channels. For those unfamiliar with what Discord is, it is a private group chat and community-based app in which you can post links, you can chat with other people. It is sort of like Reddit, where you can create private subreddits, only it is not open to the public. Unless you make your Discord open to the public, and this would be a server on which people can talk about all sorts of topics. Mostly it's video games. It is very, very popular amongst people who play video games. My sons, at least one of my sons, is on Discord. They set up private Discord servers for themselves and their friends where they talk about Fortnite or Minecraft or whatever. In this Discord server, apparently the trans boyfriend and his friends, as well as the gunman himself, were all talking about what was apparently going to go down on September 10th. And in fact, there are a number of different compilations that are out there on social media of all sorts of posts from members of this Discord server, all saying something is about to go down tomorrow, meaning September 10th. The latest from FBI Director Kash Patel is that the suspect did leave something of a note explaining why he did what he did.
The written note, we believe, what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location, in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Now, in an interview with Fox News, Associate FBI Director Dan Bongino did confirm that there were multiple warning signs, that there may have been other people potentially in this Discord group who knew about what was going to happen before it happened.
There appear to have been multiple warning signs. You just laid out some of them. There were people in his network, friends and family, who had stated that he had become more political, that he had become at some parts, I believe some of his coworkers had stated that he had kind of detached himself when the topic of politics came up and walked away from them. Family members said he'd become more political, leading us to believe that this ideology had infected him and had taken over. And he was just intent, it appears, from the data we've accumulated and the channel and that note, which we have some evidence may have existed before, based on the communications in that channel, that his target was obviously going to be Charlie and that people knew in advance. The question is, again, I just want to go back to what you had asked before. Did they know? Were they sure of this? Or did they hear this and just write it off? That's what we're going to have to find out.
Now, the original reporting about this Discord group and the social media posts by potential members of it came from Aaron Sibarium, who's with the Washington Free Beacon. And he reported early this morning that the FBI is indeed investigating social media posts by at least 7 different accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of the Kirk assassination. According to 3 people familiar with the investigation, as well as screenshots obtained by the Free Beacon. On August 6th, someone with the screen name Altulige, Altulige, posted, September 10th will be a very interesting day. This was August 6th. After the assassination, he quote tweets that post and says, I plead the 5th. Now, in a vacuum, one could say, okay, this is just a random account. Every so often, you'll see in the sports world someone posting years earlier, hey, the Packers are going to start 2-0 in 2025 or something like that. They'll be, oh my gosh, and it's an incredible coincidence. In a vacuum, somebody saying a day, a month, and 4 days from now will be a very interesting day could be taken to be just a random coincidence. But it was joined by multiple other messages. 1 week before the shooting, 2:47 a.m., someone with the screen name Tally Hal Album, TallyHallalbum, posted, it'd be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th, LMAO. He quote tweeted that on September 11th, the day after the assassination, with the message, did I? He then quote tweets that by saying, Donald Trump, December 14th. Now, does this indicate some sort of plot in the works to assassinate Donald Trump on December 14th? Is this a coincidence? Looking less and less likely. Someone with the screen name Najra Galvz, Najragalvz, the day before the assassination. Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him literally. He then follows that up with the message, let's just say something big will happen tomorrow, and a picture of a dog smiling. There is also a TikTok message posted by someone with the screen name definitely not Jack 0G. Charles James Kirk, Mr. College Dropout, does not know what's coming tomorrow. Be ready. This isn't a threat. It's a promise. All of these people certainly sound like they knew something was going to happen involving Charlie Kirk on September 10th. All of these messages were all reposted by somebody with the username Churbum75M. CHURBUM75M. Every single one of those messages reposted. He quote tweeted the Pop Base account. Charlie Kirk has died at the age of 31 after being shot, Donald Trump announces. With the message in all caps, we bleeping did it. Does that indicate that there was some sort of wider plot within this Discord chat to assassinate Charlie Kirk when Kirk was coming to Utah Valley University on September 10th? Or did these people merely have foreknowledge of what was coming? In other words, did this gunman who was in this trans radical Discord group tell all of these people what he was going to be doing it? This would have been September 4th. Someone with the handle Fujo SH Incel, FUJOSHINCEL, posted, "You guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it." After the assassination, he posts, while quote tweeting that original post, "Well, that's that." Someone responds to him, gulp. He responds to that person, "Another chud bites the dust." Now, the handle Fujo SH Incel, or Fujosh Incel, is apparently a reference to a genre of anime that depicts romantic relationships between men. All of these taken together indicate that at least several people had some advanced knowledge that something was going to go on September 10th. Now, there are also some indicators that this gunman may have had help. I'm not saying there was a second gunman on campus. I'm saying that somebody, because he was actually sending out messages, "Hey, I need somebody. Here is the rifle. I had to throw the rifle into the woods." Did somebody attempt to go retrieve the rifle but was unsuccessful before the FBI or other investigators were able to find it? And by the way, there has been now, according to the FBI director, Kash Patel, a DNA hit that matches the gunman, Tyler Robinson. And again, just for those who are new to the show, I try my best not to name these people or use their names as much as possible after the initial identification, because what this person clearly wants is the notoriety of being the man who assassinated Charlie Kirk. But there was a match for Tyler Robinson's DNA on a towel that was wrapped around the murder weapon.
What we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence, that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded, and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. And having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources to happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
When we come back, the left spends an entire weekend attempting to tie this obviously left-wing killer to the right-wing Groyper movement. We'll get into that next.
The ultimate celebration of music.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is happening this Friday and Saturday.
live in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. 16 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
And listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
This Friday and Saturday night, starting at 9:30.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
2,400 customers without power in South Carolina.
Newberry, Michigan expected to be without power for 24 hours.
Over 25,000 people without power in Cleveland, Ohio.
These are real headlines from just the last few days. Power outages are happening more often and they're getting worse. If you don't have a backup generator, it's time to get one. But gas generators, they're loud, smelly, and produce dangerous carbon monoxide. The Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator from My Patriot Supply is different. It's whisper quiet, requires no fuel, and it's safe to use indoors. Best of all, My Patriot Supply is offering an incredible deal for listeners of this station. When you go to mypatriotsupply.com and order a Grid Doctor 3300, they'll include a free expansion battery that doubles your backup power at no additional cost. Go to mypatriotsupply.com now and get prepared. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Bob from Redefine Realty with a riddle for you. Guess correctly before I give the answer, and you are a winner. Only agents from one real estate company already know the answer. Ready? Pay attention. Here goes. I'm a contest between 4 or 5, even 10 people that only ends when one absolute winner is declared, yet I have 2 winners. What am I? You got it? Are you a winner? Need more time? No, it's not the record at auction sale price of $2 million for a Wu-Tang Clan vinyl record. That's an impressive guess, though. Selling a home? Only Redefine Realty's proprietary method guarantees buyers get every opportunity to pay you maximum dollar and that you will leave closing with maximum profit. One more time. I'm a contest between 4 or 5, even 10 people that only ends when one absolute winner is declared, yet I have 2 winners. What am I? The answer is a Redefine Realty MLS home sale boosted by Easy Home Bidder Auction. Buyers win, sellers win. Let yourself win. Real estate for winners. RedefineRealty.com.
Restoring your home or business to its natural beauty is our only business. We are Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner for over 75 years.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
All weekend long, even though it was beyond apparent from the very get-go that the suspect was a radical left-winger. After all, he inscribed his bullets with the lyrics to Bella Ciao, which is an Antifa anthem. It was originally an anti-fascist song that was sung in Italy by the resistance to the Benito Mussolini regime. And "Hey Fascist, catch," meaning, hey, Charlie Kirk, you fascist, catch this. Left-wing influencers went into overdrive over the weekend. And I mean overdrive, trying to convince people that, in fact, hey, fascist, catch was just a reference to the video game Helldivers 2, and that all of these things were being posted ironically, and that this suspect was a right-wing groyper. The groyper movement is a very far-right movement of young men who follow the very far right Nick Fuentes. He is a 26-year-old online streamer. He is very anti-Semitic and almost certainly a closeted gay man who takes out all of his anger on Black people, Hispanics, Jewish people. He's just a hateful guy, but he is a very, very charismatic broadcaster. He's a very talented broadcaster, but he is part of a what I would consider to be neo-fascist right-wing hate movement. Someone who follows Nick Fuentes isn't going to call Charlie Kirk a fascist. In fact, the critique, and Fuentes and Kirk hated each other. Fuentes would actually send members of his Groyper army to Charlie Kirk events with the express goal of disrupting them by asking intentionally provocative questions and things like that. Someone who follows Nick Fuentes, and the big critique of Charlie Kirk was that he was too involved with the pro-Israel lobby. A groyper would not call Charlie Kirk a fascist. That is the language of the left. It was abundantly clear from the get-go. As soon as any reasonable person and as soon as any reasonable investigator worth his or her salt saw that engraved on the bullets, they would have known, okay, the motivation when you are assassinating one of the big conservative figures in America is that you are motivated by the fact that you believe he's a fascist, he is too far to the right, and you're going to rid the world of this fascist voice. Someone who is even farther to the right than Charlie Kirk will not call him a fascist. In fact, what the far groyper right was calling Charlie Kirk was frankly a Jew or a Jew lover, or that he was in the pocket of Israel. That said, every left-wing influencer on X, on TikTok, streaming on Twitch, on YouTube, anywhere, everywhere, it did not matter. The algorithm, at least on X, which I am on pretty constantly because it is, as Elon Musk constantly points out, the global town square, the algorithm went into overdrive, pushing even me, as you could imagine. What do you think the algorithm would likely serve me? A whole lot of left-wing pap or conservative news sources? You would think, based on what X's algorithm clearly knows I do for a living and what I am using X for, it would give me a whole lot of conservative information. It did not. All it was giving me was this message over and over and over again that Charlie Kirk was killed by a right-winger. This weekend's worth of propaganda was highly effective. A YouGov poll conducted yesterday, it was an online poll of nearly 2,400 U.S. adults. As far as you know, is the person who shot Charlie Kirk a Democrat, a Republican, neither or not sure? He's rather obviously a left-winger. A Democrat, 21%. A Republican, 24%. Neither, 15%, not sure, 40%. Now, as all of this was going on online, back in the real world, Utah's Governor Spencer Cox, who has sort of served as the liaison for information coming directly from state and federal investigators, was saying in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, first, look, we have a clear left-wing motive. As far as we know, and as far as any investigator knows, this gunman was motivated by left-wing hate. Even after reporting came out in various sources that the roommate that the gunman lived with was not a roommate at all, but a transgender who dabbled in furrydom, meaning he liked to dress up in big furry costumes for erotic pleasure, the left was still spinning as hard as it possibly could. Even when the very influential, very left-leaning news site Axios.com confirmed via 6 sources connected to the investigation that, yes, the gunman was in a romantic relationship with a man who is transitioning from male to female, the left still was spinning that this was somehow a right-winger. Even when Spencer Cox went on ABC's This Week and said on national television, look, this is directly coming from the investigators. This guy was in a romantic relationship with a transgender man. The left would not believe it and would not stop the spin.
There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
Now, of course, the investigation has spread to whether several of the people in this couple's social circle, all members of potentially a group on Discord where they planned this attack, and the investigation has also spread to a group calling itself Armed Queers of Utah, SLC, meaning Salt Lake City, a very militant LBGTQIA plus minus ampersand divided by sign. This raises a very serious and very disturbing question. If you have people who are perfectly willing online, and folks, I can't stress enough that online is where people under the age of 40 and especially under the age of 30 get 100% of their information. I saw TikTok just reached a deal for an American company to purchase it so it can continue to operate in the United States. The overwhelming majority of younger millennials, Generation Z and Generation Alpha members are getting their news not from shows like this, not from television, not even from X or Facebook, which they consider to be old people's social media, from Snapchat, from Twitch, from TikTok, from Discord servers, from Reddit, from areas where information and misinformation spread so incredibly quickly, so much quicker than even I can keep track of, that this narrative actually took hold. And I would be willing to wager that if you talk with a friend, a neighbor, a son, daughter, they or someone they know is absolutely convinced that this gunman, who is very obviously and was always very obviously of the left, on the left, motivated by the rhetoric of the hateful left, that he was actually of the right, on the right, that he killed Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk was not fascist enough, yet he wrote on his bullets the lyrics to the anti-fascist anthem Bella Ciao, and also wrote, "Hey, fascist, catch." What's really disturbing about this is that you could see in real time a deliberately false narrative being crafted, and it was going so quickly, folks, that it was very obviously coordinated. I'm not saying that this is some vast left-wing conspiracy, to paraphrase Hillary Clinton. What I am saying is that there were talking points that went out that the left-wing influencer crew, remember, who all got several visits to the White House when Joe Biden was president, that they were all given their talking points, that they were all instructed, because I think they know, folks, there were apparently 37,000 requests to form new Turning Point USA chapters on high school and college campuses. There are currently 900 college chapters of Turning Point at various schools and about 1,200 in high schools. 37,000 new requests to form new chapters. They knew what a galvanizing force the assassination of Charlie Kirk was. They understand what a powerful movement this has awakened and what a big problem this is going to be politically, socially, culturally, spiritually, in every possible realm of American and global discourse and life. And they knew they had to nip it in the bud quick. They had to stop it. They had to destroy any association that people had with the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the left-wing, increasingly violent trans LGBTQIA plus sign, percentage sign, back parentheses sign movement, and every other radical left-wing group that has been getting increasingly violent over the past several years. The evidence is all around that America has been a powder keg, not because of both sides in their political rhetoric and increasingly apocalyptic language, but the fact that one side keeps calling the other subhuman, Nazi, fascist, and has people who subscribe to this idea willing to take extreme action, including murder, to stop the fascists. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll explore that aspect of this when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna for Byrna, the compact kinetic self-defense tool you've been hearing me talk about. Things are getting scary in America these days, and we love our police, but great as they are, there are not enough of them to be there to stop the bad things from happening. Now more than ever, you need to practice self-defense. And I get that some folks just can't or don't want to get a CCL and carry a gun, but you still need to protect yourself. What you need is Byrna's new compact, less lethal launcher. First, it's small, easy to conceal, and easy to use. It's not a gun. It's a kinetic self-defense tool that comes equipped with tear gas and kinetic rounds designed to incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes, even at a distance. It's perfect for anywhere you go where you might encounter a threat. And if you're sending your child off to college this fall or have an elderly relative who lives alone, they need one too. Byrna requires no background checks and is trusted by police nationwide. Visit Byrna.com today to find the right launcher for you. That's BYRNA.com.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. Realtor.com says depending on location and a few other factors, new hardwood floors add as much as 2.5% to a home sale value, even if you plan to sell. Enjoy home more now while increasing your sale price with Flawless's LVP, hardwood, or amazing realistic, super wear-resistant modern laminate plank. Steve, litter box aromas and buyers. But you say, Dave, we want the sound deadening and warmth underfoot of carpet? Our Delafield and New Berlin showrooms have countless style and combination flooring choices, including quality luxury carpet lines. Steamy stains and carpet stink, including pet fluids, wipe off Flawless Floorings, luxury vinyl plank, and modern laminate plank, zero steam effortlessly. Our employee-only craftsmen meticulously refinish existing hardwood, even perfectly blending additional hardwood with existing. With Flawless's nothing down, zero interest financing, upgrade today and pay over 21 months. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to entertainment centers, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve at Reset Restore MD IV Ketamine Therapy Centers. IV ketamine is superior to ketamine lozenges. If you suffer with depression, anxiety, or PTSD, listen to real R&R MD patient feedback.
My treatments helped greatly reduce and eliminate my chronic back pain. I've tried many therapies for depression, and this has been the most impactful. The environment is relaxing, and the staff are incredibly kind.
Amazing, life-changing, wonderful. Dr. Jennifer changed my life for the better with ketamine infusions.
R&R MD helped me deal with anxiety and be more calm with hectic things going on. Years of talk therapy can't do what this did in a few sessions.
Intravenous ketamine infusions take about an hour at our Brookfield or Mequon R&R MD locations. Relief can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Bob built a brand over the same 20 years INET has. I bought multiple properties over those years. Bob gets real estate like I never will.
In real estate, every brokerage does the same thing. MLS. Adding auction bidding to MLS, I knew if INET branded it, told our story, home sellers would understand and accept this real estate revolutionizing platform.
You can be the best in your industry like Redefine Realty is. Even revolutionize your industry like Redefine Realty has with auction. Yet, it's your story that sells.
You can't tell your story as well as INET Creative Genius will tell your story.
Real estate for winners is exactly what Redefine Realty and auction has always been.
Steven knocked our brand and marketing out of the park.
Selling a home? If you don't use Redefine's MLS and auction platform, you'll leave closing with less money than you would have. Tragic and that simple.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. INET is improving marketing for winners.
INETJustWork.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
The NFL is off to a wild start.
Touchdown! Hit a Lambeau leap!
And the new season lives on iHeartRadio.
Fantasy advice and expert analysis.
We got you covered with the official NFL Podcast Network.
Games.
Got 'em.
Local stations bring you the action live.
There it is, recovered by the Steelers.
The adrenaline is still pumping as we hit a Monday Night Football doubleheader. And we've got 24/7 coverage of everything you love about football.
Just open the iHeartRadio app and search NFL to dive in. Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Critical events drive critical times, and these are the times to learn critical lessons. Recent events should teach us that the struggle for liberty is ongoing, and forces that are misguided or sinister stand at the ready to take our liberties away. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we are dedicated to identifying the risks to our freedoms as they arise, and to alert you to those risks, valuing our liberties and our rights. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
How many people knew what was about to transpire at Utah Valley University on September 10th? The FBI is looking into that. We do expect criminal charges to be filed against the assassin of Charlie Kirk tomorrow. This as concrete evidence has emerged that the gunman is a committed leftist. Yes, he did come from a family of Republicans, but according to multiple people who knew him, he became increasingly radicalized in his politics as the years wore on. He was the only leftist in a family full of Republicans. Yes, in 2018, when he was 13 or 14 years old, and this has been held up as the evidence that he was actually a right-wing groyper, a follower of Nick Fuentes and the neo-fascist white nationalist movement in America. It's a very small movement, but every now and again, the organized left, which is a massive movement in this country, attempts to make it into a much bigger thing than it is. In 2018, there is a picture of the suspect dressed as Pepe the Frog, who is a crudely drawn cartoon frog that is sort of served as the symbol for the groyper movement. It is a very online thing. That is a Facebook post that exists. It was 7 years ago. The suspect is now 22 years old and very clearly, as investigations now have determined, is a rabid left-winger and has espoused left-wing ideology, even writing it on the bullets that he brought to assassinate one of the most prominent conservative figures in the entire world. He was in a relationship with a transgender transitioning man, and all of them appeared to be in some sort of Discord group with other radicalized trans men who had at least foreknowledge of this attack and were posting about it in eerie foreshadowing messages on other social media, including X, and very likely had a hand in planning this attack, providing material support for this attack, or in some way attempting to shield the gunman from this attack. In the first couple of hours after we knew who this suspect was, after there was a positive identification, there was a concerted effort to spread lies about the suspect. And chief among them, that he lived at home with his mom and dad. He actually lived in an apartment with his gay lover. And in fact, there was a neighbor of this gay lover who, by the way, I am not naming. I know his name is everywhere, but he has not been charged with any crime. He has, according to Utah's Governor Spencer Cox, been cooperating fully with the investigation. Now, is that in an attempt to hide his own involvement or his own foreknowledge of this crime? It's entirely possible, but we don't know. First lie that was told by the left in an attempt to get people to think that this was not a radicalized left-wing killer was that he lived at home with his parents, i.e., he came from and was living in a conservative Republican home. Second lie, the father was a former sheriff's deputy, meaning this guy would have had access to guns. He came from a gun nut family. Wasn't true. The third bit of falsehood was that he left a paper trail, or at least digital trail, of right-wing ramblings online. He was very active in Discord servers and subreddits that would have led other people in his life to the belief that he was a rabid right-winger and not the exact opposite. Meanwhile, one of his former high school classmates talked to the UK Guardian and said, look, he seemed like a standard Reddit kid. He seemed like a left-winger. Now, the Guardian later retracted that story, saying, well, the guy said, I didn't know him well enough to know what his political leanings were. It is very likely that the Guardian, who did not name its source, was talking to somebody who posted a TikTok video at some point on Saturday holding up a high school yearbook and pointing to the suspect, who is listed right there. You can see his picture. You can see his name in this yearbook, and said, look, I'm not going to say I knew the suspect. I'm not going to say I was friends with him, but I did know him in high school and knew him to be your standard issue Reddit kid, terminally online, weird, spouting off about political stuff when he did, in fact, talk. All of the actual concrete evidence was pointing from the very beginning to this being yet another example in a long, long, long list of left-wing assassinations and attempted assassinations. In fact, you can go all the way back to the mid-1970s and the attempted assassination of Gerald Ford. You can go back to the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan, of Margaret Thatcher in Great Britain. Time and time and time again, they're radicalized leftists. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, folks, I am going to just make a quick program note here. We do have a lot of fun on this show, and we do silly segments like the unhinged liberal of the day. When I do the daily Trump date, get you up to date on everything that happened at the Trump White House on a given day. We'll play YMCA, a fun little theme song. We're going to just very temporarily put those on hiatus because I don't think that it's appropriate. What I will say right now is that before we go to break, we are going to go live to the Oval Office where President Trump is speaking. Let's see what he has to say.
We're now going to bring it down very big. We're going to be doing Chicago probably next. I was with a great businessman, a man who was involved in all cities through his business. And I say, who do you think should be next after Memphis? And he said, sir, you've got to save Chicago. We're going to wait a little while. But he said, you got to save Chicago. You can't let it go. And this is a very prominent man that everybody knows. And this from another man in Memphis was saying, Bill, he was saying, very interesting, he's on the board of FedEx. And his hotel is about a block away. And he said, when I walked there, I said, I don't want to do this again. I never want to do it again. And they won't let me walk there. They take them in armored vehicles. They take the board members of FedEx in armored vehicles like a block away to the hotel. This shouldn't be the U.S. This shouldn't be the United States of America. The task force will be a replica, as I said, and it's going to be, I think, equally successful. This is a tremendous success we've had in Washington, I can tell you, and everyone knows it. And people in the White House that work here and other people that I know are calling me and thanking me. They're going out to dinners. They're doing things that they haven't done in years. The effort will include the National Guard as well as the FBI, ATF, DEA, ICE, Homeland Security investigations, and the U.S. Marshals, and more along the prosecutors. We're going to have DOJ led by U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee.
President Trump, just a quick update here, is announcing a federal task force to reduce crime in Memphis, Tennessee, which has either the highest or second highest homicide rate in the entire country. He says he is then going to take this task force to Chicago. Folks, we're going to step aside for a break. We'll go back to President Trump when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns in just 5 minutes.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
I got trouble on 94 eastbound now at 68th. The stall blocks the left lane. Still got that crash at 35th, blocking the right lane and part of the entrance ramp. From Moreland to the Marquette and all taking 30 minutes. Your westbound trip taking 17. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Think It Up. Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
People should be judged for the content of their character, not the straightness of their teeth.
I'm Mila. The gracious, caring staff at Ross Dental make straight teeth convenient.
Bo, Mila's big brother here. High school social pressure can make students want to be invisible. Ross Dental Straight teeth are confidence building.
With Ross Dental Straight teeth, you and your children will smile like you just don't care because you don't.
Dr. Ross did imaging and ordered virtually invisible plastic trays that fit over our teeth, shifting them ever so slightly.
Every 5 days or so, we start new trays that shift teeth a little more.
Unlike conventional braces, we can take the trays off to eat and brush our teeth, and they cost less.
A bonus for me is clicking in my jaw stopped.
Dr. Ross is a great dentist, and Dad says Ross Dental is the best deal.
Family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental Straight Smiles, and full sedation dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission, your comfort, health, and confidence. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
We love the Packers. We bleed green and gold. And every time our team takes the field, well, it's pure football bliss. If only there was a way to experience that blissful winning feeling every day. At Associated Bank, we've got you with 10% off Lambeau concessions and 15% off Pro Shop merch. All when you get Packers checking from Associated Bank. It's how Packers fans keep winning on game day and every day. Associated Bank, Bank of the Packers. Learn more at AssociatedBank.com TriCountyContract.com/Packers. Member FDIC.
When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to TriCountyContractingWI.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
The dance of sunlight on water.
Shimmering, sparkling, beautiful, hypnotic.
Houses that overlook a gorgeous body of water are the most highly desired houses in the world.
The Bellamare collection of fine jewelry features classic white diamonds, flanked and surrounded by rare and exotic blue diamonds.
Bellamare means beautiful water.
Bellamare, sunlight on water, glimmering and twinkling.
The dance is enticing.
The look is spectacular.
The impact is exciting.
Blue and white diamonds created in the heart of Mother Nature.
We'll dance and sing on the body of a glittering, sparkling woman.
Bellamare, this blue and white beauty of sunlight on water
should be worn on the fingers,
the wrist,
the neck, and the ears
of the woman you love.
The Bellamare collection is available only at Kessler's.
We do diamonds better because diamonds are what we do.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Home is where it happens. The you had to be there stuff. The blinking you missed it stuff. The holiday mishaps, the first steps, the impromptu pillow forts. Your home is where the we'll always remember this stuff happens. That's why the local experts at True Stone Home Mortgage are here to make sure your home stuff can happen. Local experts, amazing options, and an on-time closing guarantee. It's true, because we're True Stone. Terms, conditions, and timing restrictions apply. Conventional purchase loans only. Visit truestone.org for details. Equal housing opportunity.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Statewide. iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
President Trump is speaking with much of his cabinet. Actually, Attorney General Pam Bondi talking now in the Oval Office, announcing a crackdown. A federal task force is going to be going to Memphis, Tennessee to crack down on crime, much like Washington, D.C. If we can, very quickly, let's go to the Oval Office and the Attorney General Pam Bondi.
To do when you're working with such great leaders, and Secretary Noem, you have been instrumental in this, and Director Patel has already been into Memphis and gotten so many violent offenders and guns off the street, and that's what started it. And working Stephen and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, thank you. We've all been going nonstop, working hand in hand together, and Gadi Serralta, Terry Cole, and Director Driscoll of ATF wearing two hats, and Pete Hegseth with the National Guard, all working hand in hand and being out there for a month. You can't tell who's with what agency but for the t-shirt they're wearing, because everyone's working hand in hand, and that's why we've been so successful.
That is Attorney General Pam Bondi talking right now in the Oval Office about that federal task force assisting local law enforcement in Memphis, Tennessee, one of the violent crime capitals of the United States. We will discuss that and more, including Vice President J.D. Vance hosting the Charlie Kirk Show today when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Another prominent Wisconsin Democrat has joined the race for governor.
State Senator Kelda Roys joins a growing Democratic primary field that includes Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez and Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. Republican candidates include Washington County Executive Josh Shulman and Milwaukee area business owner Bill Berrien. Sean Maloney, Wisconsin Radio Network.
And a bench warrant has now been issued for a woman accused of destroying a DoorDash driver's vehicle. Here's Fox 6's Haley Spittler.
Janiyah Jones did not appear in court this morning. She is accused of smashing the windows of the delivery driver's car after she didn't deliver Jones's order. This happened around 2 a.m. when the driver was home trying to cancel the food order after her phone service cut out. That's when prosecutors say Jones showed up and created more than $10,000 in damage.
The 4 o'clock business report, the Dow was up today 49 points. The NASDAQ gained 202, while the S&P rose 30. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, the Packers-Commanders game this past Thursday night was the most watched Thursday night football game on Amazon Prime Video ever, with an average audience of just under 18 million viewers. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Sunny, warm, and a bit humid today with temperatures reaching the mid-70s to low 80s, coolest lakeside. We drop into the 50s with clear skies tonight, then back to 70s and 80s Tuesday, as well as the rest of the week. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk podcast.
Hi, I'm Buzz Knight, the host of the Taking a Walk podcast, and join me for an episode with Rob Reiner talking about the new Spinal Tap release. Rob Reiner on the Taking a Walk podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I just got my Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator. It charged fast, and now I've got peace of mind for the next blackout.
It powers my refrigerator with absolutely no problem. Very satisfied.
Living in Florida, I'm always worried about hurricanes, but this gave me confidence going into the storm season.
The night we lost power, it was freezing. I plugged in my electric blanket, slept warm all night, and still had battery left in the morning.
I love being able to use this inside and not having to deal with gas, exhaust, and loud noise from a gas generator.
These are real customer reviews of the Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator. Order now at mypatriotsupply.com to get a complimentary expansion battery, a $1,200 value, free with your order. This is a limited time offer. Go to mypatriotsupply.com to get your solar generator today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
You've held onto that old jewelry for years. Maybe it was a class ring, a broken chain, or a silver flatware from your parents' home. It meant something once, and it still does. But now it could mean something new. A chance to turn those tucked away treasures into real value at Robert Hack Diamonds. With gold at an all-time high, there's never been a better time to bring in your unwanted gold, silver, or diamonds. At Robert Hack Diamonds, you'll sit down one-on-one in a relaxed, respectful setting. They'll walk you through your items carefully, from coins and jewelry to sterling tea sets and even dental gold, and make you a fair, honest cash offer. No pressure, just real people who understand that sometimes it's more than metal, it's memories. If in doubt, bring it in. You might be surprised at what it's worth. 64 plus year tradition of treating every single client with dignity, fairness, and professionalism. It's not just about gold, it's about trust. Robert Hack Diamonds, 146th and Greenfield Avenue in Brookfield and 76th and Layton in Greenfield.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs.
even mold and bacteria in your home.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Puts existing concrete back to grade, keeping water away from your foundation for a fraction of patio or driveway replacement cost.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
For a free estimate today.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Permanently fixes asphalt with state-of-the-art technology. Uneven sagging stairs and walkways are easily evened out for less than you are guessing with M to the U to the D to the T to the E to the C to the H.
262-337-0934.
The cost of having southeastern Wisconsin's premier concrete releveling and asphalt repair technicians at MudTech.
262-337-0934.
Restore your paved surfaces today is a fraction of the cost of replacement tomorrow. Call right now.
262-337-0934.
MudTechWorks.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced from people you can trust. On News Talk 1130 WISN.
Chaos and horror on a college campus. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk gunned down in front of a crowd.
For my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah.
This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation.
But it is yet another example of left-wing violence in America, something that, as one might imagine, the left wing and its allies in the media are attempting to tell you doesn't exist. We have, here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, compiled a list of assassinations and attempted assassinations dating back to the congressional baseball shooting at the very outset of President Trump's first term in 2017. Stay tuned. In about 5 to 10 minutes, you aren't going to want to miss this. If you would like to join the show, 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Watch the show streaming live on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, or our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, as the kids say, and follow us on iHeartRadio. Just search for the Dan O'Donnell Show there, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, you would know, if you're a regular listener, that normally we start the 4 o'clock hour with the daily Trump date, your look back at what happened at the Trump White House, and we have a fun little theme song. Folks, I know. Charlie Kirk and all of his supporters would want us to celebrate the accomplishments of this White House and tweak the left and do all the normal stuff. It'll be a couple of days before we do the unhinged liberal of the day and we play the silly theme music for the daily Trump date and unsung hero of the day and things like that. It's just, I just feel like we're still, as a nation, in a period of mourning, but we are going to get you up to date very quickly on all of the things going on in the Trump administration. Right now, in the Oval Office, President Trump's entire law enforcement team is discussing a federal task force that has been assembled and will be deployed to Memphis, Tennessee, to help crack down on crime there.
I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force, and it's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of all of them. Step by step, just like we did in D.C. We have virtually no crime in D.C. right now, and we're going to keep it that way. It's our nation's capital. We're going to keep it that way, or we're going to federalize it if we had to, but we don't have to anymore because it's in such great shape. This task force will be a replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts here, and you'll see it's a lot of the same thing, although the numbers here are really something. They're really bad. Now, we did send FBI in about 4 months ago to work, and it brought some of the numbers down, and they did a great job, but we're sending in the big force now.
Memphis's violent crime rate last year 2,501 violent crimes per 100,000 residents. This is the very highest in the United States. Among cities with populations over 100,000, that is nearly 7 times the national violent crime rate of 380 per 100,000. Aggravated assaults, robberies, and murders are staggeringly high. Violent crime is up by 0.5% since 2023, bucking the national decline of 4.5%, and led mostly by increases in assaults, rapes, and manslaughters, which have offset a drop in Memphis in the homicide rate. Of course, the Trump White House, led by FBI Director Kash Patel, is leading the charge into the investigation, which is also being assisted by Utah State and local authorities following the assassination of close Trump ally Charlie Kirk at the campus of Utah Valley University on Wednesday. Today, The Charlie Kirk Show, which is a syndicated radio show, podcast, and television show on the Real America's Voice Network, returned with guest host J.D. Vance, who delivered a powerful, and I mean powerful, rebuke of the organized, violent left, which cheered on and, as far as investigators know, might have actively planned this assassination.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree.
Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we are going to debate whether or not there should be an organized list of all of the people who posted truly ghoulish things in the aftermath of the Kirk assassination. This is something that has gotten a lot of traction online. And in fact, over the weekend, dozens, if not hundreds, if not over 1,000 people took to social media to announce that they had been let go from their jobs for posting truly awful things about the death of another human being. But is it right to keep tabs on who's posting awful things, to compile a database? To me, sort of no different than the Scott Walker recall list. We will discuss coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Now, Vice President Vance has reportedly been furious over the assassination of his good friend, Charlie Kirk. And on Kirk's show today, Vance made it very clear in this 2.5-minute rant that this is not a both sides problem, that both sides are not equally culpable when it comes to political violence or the celebration and encouragement of political violence. This, I believe, is something everyone needs to hear and just may be one of the most powerful statements ever by an American vice president.
Unity, real unity, can be found only after climbing the mountain of truth. And there are difficult truths we must confront in our country. One truth is that 24% of self-described, quote, very liberals believe it is acceptable to be happy about the death of a political opponent, while only 3% of self-described very conservatives agree. 3% is too many, of course. Another truth is that 26% of young liberals believe political violence is sometimes justified. And only 7% of young conservatives say the same. Again, too high a number. In a country of 330 million people, you can, of course, find one person of a given political persuasion justifying this or that or almost anything. But the data is clear. People on the left are much likelier to defend and celebrate political violence. This is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and malignant problem, and that is the truth we must be told. That problem has terrible consequences. The leader of our party, Donald J. Trump, escaped an assassin's bullet by less than an inch. Our House Majority Leader, Stephen Scalise, came within seconds of death by an assassin himself. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. This violence, it doesn't come from nowhere. Now, any political movement, violent or not violent, is a collection of forces. It's like a pyramid that stacks on top, one support on top of the other. That pyramid's got a foundation of donors, of activists, of journalists, now of social media influencers, and of course of politicians. Not every member of that pyramid would commit a murder. In fact, over 99%, I'm sure, would not. But by celebrating that murder, apologizing for it, and emphasizing not Charlie's innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said, many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen.
Told you. That was about as powerful a statement and a rebuke of the left wing in this country and a political movement that, as Vice President Vance said, is built on a pyramid of hate, as you're going to find. To his point about making up things that Charlie Kirk said in order to justify his assassination, the Washington Post today was forced to fire Karen Ataya. She is an opinion columnist who posted on Blue Sky, which is the left-wing version of X, that Charlie Kirk said that the only way that black women are able to get ahead in society is by stealing the spot of a more qualified white man. She posted that as a direct quote from Charlie Kirk. Why was she fired for it? He never said it. He never even said anything close to that. She was fired not for posting an accurate quote of Charlie Kirk, which would raise questions as to why it was being posted, meaning, okay, this man said terrible things, so it was okay that he was killed. She was fired because she was lying, whether knowingly or not knowingly. I truly do believe that Karen Ataya, having read many of her columns and seen many of her appearances on MSNBC, that she's too stupid to know what was a real quote and what wasn't, and that she truly believed that it was a real quote. She wasn't intentionally lying. She just didn't do enough basic research to realize it wasn't a real quote. She was fired because she made up a quote. She posted something publicly that was a lie intended to get a desired response. That's journalism 101. That is absolutely grounds for termination. And all of this hand-wringing about the fact that the Washington Post just fired its last black columnist doesn't erase the fact that said columnist, regardless of her skin color, was not an honest broker. Especially in hyper-emotional times like this, when clear-headed honesty is most needed, someone like Karen Ataya simply can't be trusted to report fairly or to be honest in anything she does or says. Now, Vice President Vance made reference to those organized left-wing networks which do fund, and this needs to be made abundantly clear, they do fund groups such as maybe not the Armed Queers of Salt Lake City or whatever group just deleted its online presence in the wake of the Kirk assassination in Utah by an armed man who was dating a queer person and was himself clearly a member of the queer community. But these protests, which almost invariably spill into violent uprisings, these groups whose only aim it is to take down some element of American society. Ultimately, folks, the goal is socialism. It is the overthrow of America's capitalist system and form of government and the replacement of it with a socialist economic and governing structure. The quicker we all understand this, the quicker we all accept that this is the reality, that this is not Ronald Reagan debating Tip O'Neill and then going to have a beer. This is not even Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton, who did not like each other, but had relatively similar views on policy of how we would combat the issues of the day: crime, illegal immigration. Basically, Bill Clinton today would be a radical Republican and would be potentially targeted himself for his raving right-wing views. We are in a new era in which you have people, again, under the age of 40 and especially under the age of 30, who are rabid, open socialists who have no qualms about targeting installations like Cop City, a massive police training center in Atlanta, to Tesla dealerships, to human beings to make a political point. These are violent, dangerous people, and they are being funded by organizations, non-governmental, charitable groups, and left-wing billionaires like, yes, George Soros, who understand that they are going to do the things that ultimately they believe will lead to that ultimate goal of overthrowing our capitalist system. Stephen Miller, special deputy to the president of the United States, was a guest on the Charlie Kirk show with Vice President Vance, and he vowed to take on this left-wing organizational hierarchy.
The last message that Charlie sent me was, I think it was just the day before we lost him, which is that we need to have an organized strategy to go after the left-wing organizations that are promoting violence in this country. And I will write those words onto my heart and I will carry them out. If people ask me, what emotions I'm feeling right now, it's just something people say. I mean, you kind of know the answer. There's incredible sadness, but there's incredible anger. And the thing about anger is that unfocused anger or blind rage is not a productive emotion.
Right.
But focused anger, righteous anger, directed for a just cause is one of the most important agents of change in human history.
Charlie showed that. Amen.
And we are going to channel all of the anger that we have over the organized campaign that led to this assassination to uproot and dismantle these terrorist networks. So let me explain a little bit what that means. So
you got 30 seconds. So be quick, Stephen.
The organized doxing campaigns, the organized riots, the organized street violence, the organized campaigns of dehumanization, vilification, posting people's addresses, combining that with messaging that's designed to trigger and incite violence, and the actual organized cells that carry out and facilitate the violence. It is a vast domestic terror movement. And with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make America safe again for the American people. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name.
And why is it so necessary that this happen? Because the violence on the left is getting worse. When we come back in just 3 minutes, all of the examples of assassinations and attempted assassinations from the left in recent years. You won't want to miss this.
Thought, not just talk. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound on 894, solid from the Zoo interchange to National. We got a crash block in the left lane. 20 between the Zoo and the Hale. 94 eastbound jam from the Zoo to 68th with a stall in the left lane. A half hour more into the Marquette. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
This week on Red Pilled America, what role has Hollywood played in American crime? To find the answer, we tell the story of how a musical movement born in the late 80s impacted urban America. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America, a storytelling show.
The ultimate celebration of music.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is happening this Friday and Saturday.
live in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. 16 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
And listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
This Friday and Saturday night, starting at 9:30.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. Does it seem like storms travel hundreds of miles out of their way against prevailing winds to keep your basement damp, wet, moldy, even flooded? It isn't going to resolve itself. Freezing and thawing over time expands damage to walls, foundations, and even your family's health. That's not purified water seeping or running through your basement walls. It's filth carrying every sort of bacteria, fungus, and mold. Only Ryan Waterproofing has an estimator project coordinator you'll love. Ashley's expert, honest, and will make you comfortable with the solutions proposed, and she'll be with you every step of the project. Doesn't matter how bad the cracks or sag in your basement walls are. Ryan has affordable sealant and water abatement solutions for most basements, with convenient financing options, including 18 months no interest financing. You actually might enjoy walking in the rain when it's not in your basement. Contact Ryan today, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com. Call Ryan.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell from Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
You're just a click away from listening to News Talk 1130 WISN in glorious digital clarity via the iHeart app. Click, enjoy, repeat. Now, back to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Someone asked me, Dan, I think it's time we move on from the Charlie Kirk assassination. I mean, he was a great man, yes, but it seems like overkill. And I answered, I felt the need to answer via text that this is much, much bigger than one man. Yes, Charlie Kirk was a great man. Yes, his movement will live on after him, and it inspired millions and is inspiring millions and millions more. However, this is about our very way of life. This is about the most existential threat that we actually face to the United States of America. If people cannot be free to express themselves politically without the fear of what I've dubbed the assassin's veto, you've heard of the heckler's veto, when left-wingers would go to conservative events and just boo and carry on and shriek and scream and make it impossible for the speaker to be heard. That was bad enough. Now, are we going to have to look over our shoulders whenever we go out in public and say something that some left-wing radical sociopath is going to disagree with to the point that he pulls out a sniper rifle? That's a very real fear, I think, that is going through the minds of a whole lot of people. It's a very real fear because the list of left-wing assassinations and near assassinations in this country, just since the rise of Donald Trump, is about a mile long. It started on June 14th, 2017, at Eugene Simpson Stadium Park in Alexandria, Virginia, on a warm summer afternoon, where the Congressional Republican baseball team was practicing for the annual game between the GOP and Democrat members of Congress. A 66-year-old Bernie Sanders volunteer drove all the way from Belleville, Illinois, with the intent of killing Republicans. He was a left-wing radical with a long history of social media posts demonizing the GOP. He stopped at a local library and asked someone there whether the people who were playing baseball at the park nearby were Republicans and Democrats. When he was told they were Republicans, he opened fire. House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, Republican from Louisiana, was shot in the hip, sustaining life-threatening injuries that required multiple surgeries. Fortunately, he made a full recovery. He's now the House Majority Leader. Zach Barth, a congressional staffer, was shot in the leg. Matt Mika, a lobbyist, shot multiple times in the chest. Capitol Police Special Agents Crystal Griner and David Bailey were injured in the shootout, eventually taking down the suspect. Roger Williams, Republican from Texas, suffered a minor ankle injury while running away and attempting to hide. On February 13th of 2022 in Louisville, Kentucky, mayoral candidate Craig Greenberg was targeted by a 21-year-old left-wing radical and former journalist motivated by anti-establishment and black nationalist views. He frequently criticized corporate Democrats as well as systemic inequality and fired 6 shots into Craig Greenberg's campaign office during his bid for the Democratic mayoral nomination. He intended to kill Greenberg, and bullets narrowly missed his staff members. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Several months later, in Chevy Chase, Maryland, June 8th, 2022, a 26-year-old man from Simi Valley, California, flew from Los Angeles to Dulles International Airport the day before. He armed himself with a Glock 19 pistol, 2 magazines of ammunition, a tactical knife, zip ties, pepper spray, a hammer, a screwdriver, a crowbar, and duct tape, and took a taxi to Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home, arriving at about 1 a.m. on June 8th. He was motivated by a leaked draft opinion of a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. The suspect was going to break into the house, murder Kavanaugh, then commit suicide. He approached the front door but turned back after he saw deputy U.S. Marshals who formed Kavanaugh's security detail and instead called 911, telling dispatchers he was, quote, having homicidal and suicidal thoughts, had a gun, and had come to kill a specific Supreme Court justice. Police arrived very quickly and arrested him without incident at the scene. 2 years later, Butler, Pennsylvania, July 13th, 2024. A 20-year-old gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, got on the roof of a building near to where the former and presidential candidate Donald Trump was speaking, fired multiple rounds, grazing Trump's ear, and but for the grace of God and Trump turning his head at the last second to look at an immigration chart provided by Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, he would have been shot in the head and died instantly. The gunman was reported to be a Republican registered voter, but rather obviously was motivated by a hatred for Trump and came within 4 or 5 millimeters of ending his life. 2 months later, almost to the day, September 15th, 2024, in West Palm Beach, Florida, a 58-year-old man who has a history, a long one, of anti-Trump activism, attempts to kill Trump as he plays a round of golf on one of his golf courses in Florida. Only the eagle-eyed sight of a Secret Service agent who saw the barrel of a gun poking through a bush stopped that suspect from being able to get a clear shot off at Trump. December 4th, 2024, New York City, New York. A longtime socialist, furious at the U.S. healthcare and insurance industry, shot to death the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, outside of a hotel during an investor conference. Far from being universally condemned, that gunman, Luigi Mangione, became a folk hero on the left, lionized in online postings and inspiring thousands of left-wingers to purchase hats from the character Luigi from the Super Mario Brothers video game franchise in support of a man who they considered to be a modern-day hero. In January of this year, a man by the name of Riley English surrendered to Capitol Police after he said he planned to assassinate Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent using a Molotov cocktail. English is a self-described anarchist and anti-capitalist and said he was opposed to Bessent and Trump's economic policies in a manifesto he wrote. April 13th in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. An arson attack using Molotov cocktails at the Pennsylvania governor's mansion targeted Governor Josh Shapiro while he and his family slept on Passover. The perpetrator is an anti-Zionist anarchist and said he targeted Shapiro, a Democrat governor who just happens to be Jewish, for his stance on industry and the country of Israel. His manifesto cited the imperialist policies of the United States as a key motivator in that attack. Less than 1 month later, in May, Washington, D.C., a suspect, a leader in Chicago's anarchist and neo-socialist movement, shouted, "Free, free Palestine," as he shot to death Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, two staffers at the Israeli embassy, after an event at the Jewish Museum in D.C. The suspect is linked to pro-Palestine militant groups with anti-imperialist and anarchist ties. Less than a month after that, Boulder, Colorado, pro-Palestinian anarchists protesting U.S. support for Israel firebombed a pro-Israel demonstration using Molotov cocktails. An elderly victim died from the burns she received. 13 people were injured. Multiple suspects, all with radical anarchist left-wing ties, were arrested, and the FBI is continuing its investigation of this incident as domestic terrorism. July 4th, Alvarado, Texas. There was an ambush on the Prairieland ICE detention facility. The suspects lured officers outside by firing rounds and committing acts of vandalism, then fired 20 to 30 rounds at them from AR-style rifles. 11 members of the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club, which is an anarchist Antifa terror cell, claimed responsibility. They left behind anti-ICE stickers and anti-ICE graffiti. One officer was shot in the neck. He did survive. 7 suspects were arrested at the scene. 3 more were arrested later, all 10 tied to Antifa. Again, this was classified as domestic terrorism. Finally, September 10th, the assassination of Charlie Kirk by a left-wing radical who inscribed things such as "Oh Bella, Bella Ciao," the lyrics to a very popular Antifa anthem, and "Hey Fascist, Catch" on his bullets. It is now being investigated whether other members of a Discord group who happen to be radical transgender activists had foreknowledge of this attack or even helped to plan it. Every single one of those assassinations or near assassinations in the last 8 years, now averaging roughly one a month, was committed by a left-wing radical individual or a left-wing radical group. We do not have a problem with both sides committing acts of political violence in this country. While there have been attacks committed by right-wingers, they are few and far between. Now, attacks by left-wing radicals are becoming commonplace. And I fear the attack that claimed the life of Charlie Kirk, perhaps America's most famous conservative activist, is only the beginning. These are dangerous radicals, and they are increasing the frequency of their attacks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is terrorism, plain and simple, and it needs to be stopped. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. It is a tour de force of truth, no matter how uncomfortable that truth may be.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Ash continues to block the left lane 894 southbound at National. Stall blocks the left lane 94 eastbound at 68th. 4145 southbound jam from Appleton down to Capitol. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Our American Stories.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll honor and remember the events of September 11th, 2001. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
This time of year can be tough on a number of areas in your home. This is Dan O'Donnell, and if you're struggling with any electrical issues, I recommend the superheroes at Current Electric. Chuck Smith, a Brookfield Central grad, started Current Electric over 40 years ago. His mission was to serve our community with integrity and quality, and has done that at Current Electric. If you need something as small as an outlet or switch repair or a whole home rewiring, call on the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com.
It's one of the hottest topics when it comes to finance and your money. The One Big Beautiful Bill. If you haven't read it, we don't blame you. It's 900 pages with 400 just for tax provisions. Not exactly light reading. You know who has read it? Annex Wealth Management. That's where Instant Insight webinars come in. They're designed to provide clarity for today's hot topics. Get up to speed fast. Check out the full Instant Insight schedule at annexwealth.com/events. Unbiased advice from a fee-only fiduciary. Find out more at annexwealth.com.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. It's true, there's nothing quite like the scent of freshly steam-cleaned, worn carpet other than a wet dog or cat's litter box. However, Flawless's customer satisfaction-driven, unprecedented growth pinched the Milwaukee metro flooring industry to the point major carpet companies are no more. We've added quality carpeting lines, becoming your true one-stop flooring shop. Flawless Flooring's New Berlin and Delafield showrooms feature virtually unheard of in the flooring industry, upfront accurate pricing, including installation on every display. Know how much carpet, LVP, or modern laminate flooring you need? You can calculate exact pricing as you shop. Want to expand your existing hardwood flooring? Flawless's employee-only craftsmen strip existing flooring, install new hardwood, then finish old and new together for a perfect, looks all original floor. Lock in purchasing power of today's dollars for money you'll earn up to 21 months from now with Flawless's no money down, zero interest financing. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com. That's FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell.
Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
111 East Kilbourne, Milwaukee. CordellCordell.com.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Eric Howell of Howell Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what-ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Cowell Investment Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs. Even mold and bacteria in your home.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Puts existing concrete back to grade, keeping water away from your foundation for a fraction of patio or driveway replacement cost.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
For a free estimate today.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Permanently fixes asphalt with state-of-the-art technology. Uneven sagging stairs and walkways are easily evened out for less than you are guessing with M to the U to the D to the T to the E to the C to the H.
262-337-0934.
The cost of having southeastern Wisconsin's premier concrete releveling and asphalt repair technicians at MudTech.
262-337-0934.
Restore your paved surfaces today is a fraction of the cost of replacement tomorrow. Call right now.
262-337-0934.
MudTechWorks.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Hey, this is Matt Jones. I'm Drew Franklin, and this is NFL Cover Zero. We're just here to try to give you an NFL perspective a little bit different. Did you see the Colts pretzel? That was my other big takeaway from that game. What was that? Oh, my. We think NFL coverage should be informative and entertaining. And twice a week, that is exactly what you're going to get. Open up your free iHeartRadio app, search NFL Cover Zero with Matt Jones and Drew Franklin, and listen now.
What's so dangerous about what's going on in the modern American left is that there are people who truly believe that they are doing good by targeting for assassination or for other forms of political violence people with whom they disagree. You have got Democrats from all major avenues of political life, all reiterating the fact that Donald Trump is Hitler, that Republicans are fascists. This provides, and I've heard it described as a permission structure for Republicans to be targeted because they're just so evil, because they're just so terrible. It is therefore good and just and necessary that they're attacked. This isn't a permission structure. This is dangerous rhetoric that is absolutely inspiring the worst people in America. We put together a montage, and this is all recent. These are all within the last year or two of prominent Democrats, president, vice president, presidential candidates, Speaker of the House, all saying the same thing. Republicans are fascists. Trump is Hitler. What is a diseased mind supposed to think other than, well, maybe it's my duty to end hate, stop fascism, and take out the threat to America?
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans
represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Donald Trump is America's Hitler.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Donald Trump's modern day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
We have had an enormous setback in this election because the fascist won.
The fascist won the election. Donald Trump is using his power to have a modern day Gestapo snatch people off the streets. The greatest enemy we face is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That was Nancy Pelosi. Now, she was asked in the wake of the Kirk assassination whether Democrats' words were in fact inspiring these sociopaths to go out and kill Republicans.
People don't have any intention of saying something that's going to lead to something dangerous, but we cannot take responsibility for the minds that are out there and how they hear it.
Oh, really? Well, that wasn't what she was saying in 2022 when she said Trump's words constitute violence against women.
This is violence against women. He may not know that, but when he says things like, I want to protect women whether they like it or not, that is violence against women. Would you want your son to say that to anyone? Would you want your daughter to be told that? Would you want your husband to say that to you, whether you like it or not? Violence against women.
You see, Republicans' words are so awful. They are so terrible. They constitute violence against another human being. Now, what is the proper response if you truly believe that someone's words are a violent assault against you? Well, then it's only natural that you defend yourself violently if necessary. Now, Democrats, according to Pelosi, can't be held responsible for what's in the mind of somebody else. No. Meanwhile, there is an organized, coordinated group called Antifa that is staging attacks on any ICE facilities, any police training centers, any Tesla dealerships that it thinks it can target. March of this year, March 10th, 2025, there was a Tesla lot. They don't have dealerships per se. You buy directly from the company and you pick up your car from a Tesla lot. Tesla lot was torched in Seattle. $500,000 worth of damage. This followed months of individual Teslas being vandalized, being brutalized, being targeted because Elon Musk was supposedly a fascist. In Atlanta, for the past several years, Antifa has been targeting Cop City, an under construction big police academy training center that they say is the fascist epicenter of the Deep South. 4th of July, Prairie Land ICE facility. ICE agents lured outside so they can be shot. One of them shot in the neck. This is a terrorist organization. But to Democrats, well, Antifa isn't a group. It's an idea. Remember this? After Antifa spent 4 months torching America's cities, including Kenosha, Wisconsin. It was from the 2020 presidential debate. Then candidate Joe Biden said there's no such thing as Antifa.
I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI, his FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir.
Antifa is an idea. No, that idea is very real. That idea of violence against, quote, fascists has been a very real problem in this country for at least 5 years. And now that idea claimed a very prominent, possibly the most prominent conservative voice in the country, cut down at the age of 31, because that idea has been encouraged and justified by members of the left, by elected Democrats, and very prominent media personalities for years now. Dan O'Donnell Show coming back in just 5 minutes.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Down on 94, got the exit to Moreland partially blocked with an accident. Earlier stall at 68th has cleared out of the way. Still got heavy delays, though, back to Highway 100. The 894 southbound crash at National is gone, stopping and going from the Zoo down to Cold Spring. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
Hi, I'm Buzz Knight, the host of the Taking a Walk Podcast, and join me for an episode with Rob Reiner talking about the new Spinal Tap release. Rob Reiner on the Taking a Walk Podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson. The Falls and New Berlin. Additives, chemicals, and toxins in your diet can miswire the way your genes express themselves. Food is critical for health. Increased energy, better sleep, reversing chronic disease. A healthier, happier, pain-free you is simple. Schedule your free Total Health consult. Holistic health coaches will guide you to a healthier, happier, truly you. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, were developed as fuel in industrial lubricants. Seed oils cause dozens of chronic illnesses. Big Healthcare solution to nutritional-related illness is their same solution to all health-related problems. Drugs that also alter the way your genes express themselves, leaving root causes, making you increasingly sick over time. What they never tell is eliminate seed oils from your diet, and cutting back on sugar will immediately improve your health. It's true. Total Health finds root causes of sickness, including nutritional deficiencies, then helps you, the whole complete you, achieve wellness. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
America's #1 app for radio is iHeart. Live radio, trusted DJs, breaking news, live play-by-play, plus the station you're listening to right now. Anytime, anywhere. Join the millions who already have it. Open the free iHeart Radio app today. The #1 app for radio.
Hi, I'm Tom Detlich with Grandview Homes. Life can move fast or slow or somewhere in between. So when you want to sell your home, we're here to work on your schedule. Whether you need to close in 10 days or need more time to get things in order, we'll make it happen. Our process is designed around your needs. We'll buy your home completely as is, no matter the condition. At Grandview Homes, we know your time is precious, and we won't waste it by giving you the runaround. Just a fair, guaranteed offer on your schedule. That's why our offers don't expire, as long as your home and the market stay the same. Whether you have a family home, condo, or rental property in Greater Milwaukee, we're here to help you sell confidently and on your timeline. Grandview Homes, the fastest and easiest way to sell your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today. grandviewhomes.com.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
It's 5 words no one wants to hear. You need a new roof. Oh boy, who do you call? How are you going to pay for it? Hi, it's Jay, and these are all questions that run through people's minds when they hear those 5 words. But if you pick up the phone and call Semperfi Roofing, your new roof will be the easiest, most hassle-free home improvement project you'll do. Semperfi has thousands of 5-star ratings for both customer service and high-quality installation. Plus, they offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. 50 years. Also, since no one wants to pay these high interest rates, for a limited time, Semperfi is offering 5-year no-interest financing with minimum monthly payments for qualified buyers. So if you need a new roof, don't stress. Semperfi Roofing has got your back. It all starts with a free 21-point roof inspection to assess the exact condition of your roof and what needs to be done next. Set up your inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910. Or go online to semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
At
Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
AdventNotes.com.
Summer's over. Get your home fall ready with Feldco. Right now, get free installation on windows, siding, doors, and roofing. Plus, no interest for 3 years.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco. Your home cleaning friend. It's Edelman again. Edelman.
WISN. Big taxers, big spenders, political cronies, global warming alarmists, charlatans, liars, scam artists, and feeders at the public trough. The threats to your happiness are many, but that's where we can help. News Talk 1130 WISN. Our truth shall keep you free.
Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour in just a couple of minutes, we will get into the truly sick reactions to Charlie Kirk's death and also some reactions that will fill you with hope, including one from a former TMJ4 reporter turned pastor.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. The 22-year-old man accused of fatally shooting conservative activist Charlie Kirk last week is reportedly not cooperating with authorities. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino says the agency is working to find out if the attacker had any help.
Whether it's OSINT, open source intel, through social media that people posted publicly, we'll be looking at that. We'll also be dropping a lot of paper, a lot of subpoenas out there to take a look to see if there was any extended network.
Bongino appeared on Fox News. School leaders in Elkhorn say that one of their associate principals did not post something inflammatory about Charlie Kirk's death, even though a lot of people thought she did. Elkhorn Superintendent Jason Tadlock says that someone took the principal's picture and then edited into a different person's negative comment about Kirk on social media.
I understand people are hurting. I understand people are upset, and it was a tragedy that we've gone through as a country, but it's still not an excuse to wreck other people's lives, especially those who are completely innocent.
Tadlock added they've been able to trace the post back to someone in Williams Bay, and that person does not work for Elkhorn schools. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says there is a framework for a TikTok deal between the U.S. and China. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers are off today before they open up a series against the Angels tomorrow night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Clear skies tonight. Temperatures dropping through the 60s. Will settle in the 50s overnight with some patchy fog developing. Mostly sunny on Tuesday. Another warm day. A high of 82 inland, 77 near the lake. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
Hi, I'm Buzz Knight, the host of the Taking a Walk podcast, and join me for an episode with Rob Reiner talking about the new Spinal Tap release. Rob Reiner on the Taking a Walk podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. Life is unpredictable, but you can help your loved ones navigate dark days by preparing for the future now. Powers of attorney, wills, and trusts are all components to a robust estate plan that ensures your wishes are fulfilled. Do you think your estate is simple or should be executed using common sense? In many cases, the law cannot take into account how complicated families are. If you or your heirs are divorced, or if your heirs get get divorced in the future, your assets may not go where you intend. Many people say that they will get a will, but they never get around to it. Their loved ones often pay for their lack of planning in the time and stress of probate, not to mention court fees. On top of their grief, they'll wrestle with red tape and resentment. Don't gamble your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. Protect your loved ones from legal battles. It's more than just a document, it's peace of mind. Contact Grieve Civil Law today, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. GrieveCivilLaw.com.
2,400 customers without power in South Carolina.
Newberry, Michigan expected to be without power for 24 hours.
Over 25,000 people without power in Cleveland, Ohio.
These are real headlines from just the last few days. Power outages are happening more often, and they're getting worse. If you don't have a backup generator, it's time to get one. But gas generators, they're loud, smelly, and produce dangerous carbon monoxide. The Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator from My Patriot Supply is different. It's whisper quiet, requires no fuel, and it's safe to use indoors. Best of all, My Patriot Supply is offering an incredible deal for listeners of this station. When you go to mypatriotsupply.com and order a Grid Doctor 3300, they'll include a free expansion battery that doubles your backup power at no additional cost. Go to mypatriotsupply.com now and get prepared. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart.
The Green Bay Packers, more than just a team, they're a way of life.
Kicked from behind. And sack Micah Parsons.
Listen to every minute of Packers action on our sister station, 97.3 The Game. Presented by Robert Hack Gardens. They buy gold. See them in Brookfield or Greenfield. Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good evening. This is Certified Financial Planner Chauncey Weisensell with your evening business report. The major averages edged higher today after President Trump said that U.S.-China trade negotiations are going well. Investors are also bracing for the Federal Reserve meeting later on this week. The markets are fully expecting a rate cut announcement on Wednesday. Today, we saw some of the Magnificent Seven companies help leading the way with gains in shares of Tesla and Alphabet adding 3% and 4% each respectively, while Amazon and Meta added just over 1%. At the close, the Dow was up 49 points to 45,883. The Nasdaq was up 207 points, and the S&P was up 31 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Chauncey Weisensell.
Chaos and horror on a college campus. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk gunned down in front of a crowd.
For my great fellow Americans, I'm filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah.
This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation.
But ladies and gentlemen, not every reaction to the worst political assassination in many of our lifetimes was as horrific as you might think. There are actually the best of us sprinkled in with the worst. And frankly, on social media, it is a sewer of the worst possible people imaginable, hiding behind the veil of anonymity and posting their unfettered glee at the death of a 31-year-old husband and father of two because they believed he was a fascist, that he was spreading hate because they disagreed with the things he said and couldn't be honest about the things he said. We see this time and again when a prominent conservative dies. Nearly 5 years ago, it was after the death of Rush Limbaugh. There were all sorts of manufactured quotes designed to justify the unbridled, unhinged happiness that so many members of the left wing felt when another human being died. Folks, this is sociopathic behavior. And now there is a concerted effort, not necessarily on the right, but amongst people who are tired of this ghoulishness every time somebody dies who says something that the Antifa left disagrees with. There is apparently in the works a list of all those who said horrible, hateful, toxic, awful things in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination that is going to be posted online as a searchable database with names and places of employment. It is, to my knowledge, not going to include personal addresses. This is not meant to be a hit list. This is, in fact, very similar to something we here in Wisconsin have known and used forever. In 2012, there was an effort to recall Governor Scott Walker. Throughout 2011, the first year Walker was in office, with his very first act, the budget repair bill that became Act 10, that merely said public employee unions need to pay a little bit for their own retirement plans and health care. Seriously, that was the big controversy 14 years ago that brought 100,000 lefties to the state capitol in Madison, where they demonstrated and behaved like boors for days. There were 1 million signatories to the recall of Governor Walker. Hundreds of thousands were verified. These were real people who signed their names to a document saying Scott Walker should be removed from office because of a political policy I disagree with. This list, which apparently features 50,000 plus names of people who said and posted the worst, most vitriolic things in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination to public forums, I see as no different than the Walker recall list. Now, I posted something slightly pithy on social media over the weekend, and it was meant to be semi-serious, but semi-fun. I posted, there's apparently a searchable database of 50,000 people who celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, which lists their names and places of employment. This is unacceptable and not who we are, conservatives. It should be 100,000. I stand by that. There are a number of people on ostensibly the right, and I am not going to name names because I like these people, I respect these people a great deal, and it's a difference of opinion. But they reposted my pithy remarks as being evidence of a dark turn in conservatism. I do not, however, recall any such hand-wringing for the past 14 years over the Walker recall list. This is the Walker recall list on a national level. The Walker recall list was normal people signing their names to a public document saying, we disagree with this guy so badly that he should lose his job in politics over this. To my knowledge, and in my humble opinion, putting out for public consumption on social media, which has a far bigger reach than a Walker recall, which, let's face it, most people did not believe when they signed it would ever be made public. People are putting out truly horrific, awful, ghoulish things on social media for public consumption, saying, I want people to know I am glad this man is dead. I wish other people like him would die as well. Now, this is being taken not just by members of the squish right, but by members of traditional media and the left as well, to be an assault on the First Amendment and the principles of free speech by the supposed defenders of free speech amongst the conservative movement. Who said anything about suppressing these people's right to be as ghoulish as they want on social media? Just as you are free to post whatever you want, you are not free from the consequences of what you post. This is not employers stifling the free speech of their employees. This is employers being made aware of people in their employ, people who either are openly or tacitly representing them in the digital space, revealing themselves to be honest to goodness, either crazy or evil or both. The fact that a significant number of these people, including a very high-profile example of a Cudahy middle school teacher, whom the district is apparently standing by, although I commented on their Facebook post, the Cudahy School District, saying, well, this teacher posted on his own personal Facebook page, and he didn't do it at school, so we're fine with it. So let me see. The guy you are entrusting children to, because he didn't celebrate the death of another human being and act like a complete psychopath while in the presence of the children in his classroom, you're totally okay with that. People who are in positions of trust. There was an Iron County judge who doubled down on his glee that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. What do you think the likelihood that any conservative would ever be able to get a fair hearing or fair trial in that judge's courtroom? Probably not great. This is not a list to silence that judge or that teacher. This would be a list to show just who it is who is saying things that we as a society find to be not just uncouth, not just rude or obnoxious, but so heinous and so twisted that it would make an employer or make someone's customers reasonably question, is this person mentally fit enough to work for me? Or is this someone whose mental acuity and, frankly, soul is fit for my business? What say you, ladies and gentlemen? Is it okay to call out and even to organize and try to compile the worst of the worst of the worst of people who are celebrating assassinations, cheering for political violence, and contributing to the gutter of filth and excrement that our politics has now degraded into, that these same people claim to oppose? Is it okay to provide a check on this insanity and evil? Is it okay to provide some modicum or some attempt at accountability and consequence for expressing the darkest, most unacceptable sentiment of American society? And that is joy and celebration in the death of others, especially the death of others who engage in political discourse with which we disagree. Political discourse, of course, being the very reason for a First Amendment to the Constitution in the first place. 414-799-1130. That is our AdventNows.com talk and text line. This is the great debate of today. Is this acceptable? Do you support this idea or not? 1-800-838-9476. That is our toll-free talk and text line. You can always email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. We're going to take a break a little bit early. We'll be back in just 3 minutes with your phone calls, your texts, your reactions, plus a sermon from a former Milwaukee TV reporter turned pastor you simply have to hear.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford Total Traffic Center.
Jammed southbound on 43 from Keefe down to the Marquette and on to 4394 to the KK River. Eastbound on 94, very heavy 84th to pass the stadium. Westbound from 27 to Hawley. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Our American Stories.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll share the story of the man who wrote the gospel song, I'll Fly Away. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
The ultimate celebration of music.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is happening this Friday and Saturday.
Live in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. 16 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
And listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
This Friday and Saturday night, starting at 9:30.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
The only agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Now, thanks for joining me today. So what's the biggest challenge that sellers face when they're getting a divorce?
Well, Sean, unfortunately, divorce is tough and we deal with it a lot in our business. We have to make sure that these people feel like they're being treated fairly. They want to both feel like they're part of the deal. They don't want one side getting more insight than the other. And we have solutions for these types of issues.
How do you help them with that?
We can help them with that with a quick, clean, cash instant offer, or we make sure we set all the precedent up front so they know we're going to be dealing with them directly, equally, all the way through the transaction.
All right. Thanks for keeping us up to date. If I needed to sell a home in Milwaukee, I'd call Justin Hoffman. Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 5-star reviews.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
For over 41 years, we've helped Wisconsin folks create beautiful, affordable, and durable bathrooms.
You'll get our expert guidance and long-lasting quality products.
And nobody beats our prices.
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Always authentic and committed to candor. Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN. The talk shows on WISN Radio. Not for the faint of heart and not for the feeble of mind. News Talk 1130 WISN. Fact is, until you've heard us, you haven't heard the whole story.
One of the most prominent left-wing streamers who plays video games and tapes himself and does live streams on Twitch and other social media platforms goes by the handle Destiny. He is easily, I think, the most prominent of the left-wing purely streaming set. And you probably have never, this isn't his real name. His name is like Tom something or other. But he goes by the handle Destiny. He's on podcasts all the time. If you don't know who he is, ask your kids, ask your grandkids, because I guarantee they know him. When we talk about people on the left saying the most vile, awful things in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, this is what we mean. We don't mean people who are saying, well, I think that Charlie Kirk fellow was very controversial and it's terrible that he died, but we really need to soften our discourse. I mean, that's the typical boomer liberalism that is as milquetoast as it is asinine, but it's not black-hearted and wicked. This is black-hearted and wicked. Destiny, over the weekend on a stream, said he wants more conservatives killed so that they will all be terrified to do any events or to speak.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. Like, I don't know. It's like memes. It's just memes to everybody, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't care. I'm playing video games. Okay. I'm done today. I don't give a f.
He needs more conservatives to be afraid of assassination. He needs more conservatives to shut up because they're scared that if they speak out, they'll be killed. Now, I'm seeing a little false equivalence here, that this idea that conservatives should make a list of all the people who are saying things like Destiny so that their employers or their communities or their families will know just what lies in that blackened soul when they feel that they have the protection of being anonymous online. Let's go to Dave, listening to us in downtown Milwaukee, up first on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What's up, Dave?
Oh, yeah, thanks for taking the phone call. I mean, I think it goes back down to like, would you really craft an email, sit down with your thoughts, put it in a letter, and send it to somebody? That's really what a post is, or you should treat it as that. Something you really, really think about before you, there's plenty of Democrats I don't like. I tend to be more conservative, but I would never wish, Rachel Maddow to be killed or any harm on any public official. I don't agree with them. Just like Charlie Kirk didn't agree with them. You sit down and have a dialogue, and but this mainstream media, which fuels this, it's okay to say you're going to go out, and it's even amazing as how much people are censored during COVID, or we're talking about the Trump dossier being false and being kicked off social media.
Yep.
But yet these people are advocating killing somebody or talking about killing more people, or they think it's okay. And that just fuels a fire, for the people who are unstable.
Well, I can tell you right now, as someone, Dave, and thank you very much for the call, as someone who is always acutely aware of everything I say, everything I post, everything public or private that comes out of my mouth, that it's going to be judged and that it could be a fireable offense. I every time I post something online, every time I open a segment on the radio, every time I talk to my buddies at a bar, I recognize that my career could be over in an instant. I actually have people listening to this show to try to find out of context clips to get me canceled. Every conservative talk show host does. Nobody seems to be saying, well, this is, oh my goodness, this is infringing upon Dan's First Amendment rights. I don't know about this. I understand that given the position that I have, given the microphone, given the platform, given the public trust that I have, there is a certain baseline level of discourse that I am expected to uphold. Why every other human being is not held to a similar standard based in the standard prevailing norms of American society and enforced by people in their social and professional circle. Why this is so bad, I don't know, especially, Dave, because as you said, if you said something to the effect of something so controversial in 2021 as, I don't think we should be masking the children, you could be kicked off of social media. Your access to the public square would be immediately shut down. If you said, hey, it sure seems that there were a lot of irregularities in that 2020 presidential election, and the guy who campaigned out of his basement during a global pandemic when most people were home got 12 million more votes than the most popular charismatic Democrat politician of all time? Okay. Let's go to Kurt in Hubertus up next. Hi, Kurt. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to pick your brain, dig a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about let's make a list of people who are, just awful, vitriol humans about the recent Charlie news. But I believe you were recently taking a stance with the Phillies fan of let's not, digitally attack people online. What are you using as a criteria to differentiate? Is it okay to have just lists of people and what they do?
Sure.
Taking an extreme, would you be okay with having a list of gun owners just because they own guns? I'm looking for your take on this.
Kurt, are you a regular listener? Because you sound exactly like how I would challenge me on this position, and I love it.
Thank you very much. I try.
No, I'm actually dead serious about that, because that would be the biggest hole in my argument, right? I literally was just saying, okay, this was a woman. You do understand, though, there's a difference between a woman being kind of, let's face it, a bee, yelling at a guy to give her a baseball, and someone saying, I believe Charlie Kirk deserved to die, and everyone else who thinks like him also deserves to die. Like, there's a violation of a societal norm in that you don't get in someone's face and steal a baseball from a kid, but it doesn't have the same sort of consequences as wishing death upon one's political enemies, or saying, yes, I am so glad this guy I didn't like died, and going to social media in the wake of an assassination where there are millions of people grieving, and posting yourself laughing, posting extremely graphic memes of blood pouring out of the man's neck, things like that. So it's a matter of scale, right? It's whether the infraction, look, I'm not saying I'm totally comfortable with this idea, but look, we normalized this, Kurt, 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, when I Verify the Recall was put together. And we had people who were having to answer questions about signing their names to a document saying, I want the governor recalled. That seems downright, that seems almost insane that it's on the same level as someone taking to social media and saying, I am very glad that my political opponent is dead, and here's why I think it's a good thing that he's dead. Now, as for the other lists of things like gun owners, gun ownership in and of itself is not a violation of societal norms. In fact, it is protected by the Second Amendment. Now, you might say to that, because Kurt, I can tell you're very good at this, right? Because you listen to this show, you would say, well, Dan, speech is protected by the First Amendment. Aren't you trying to curtail speech, right? What I am attempting to do is to say there need to be consequences for violations of societal norms. The consequences are commensurate with the violation. Taking a ball away from a kid at a baseball game, okay, a little public humiliation and shame, fine. Wishing death upon an innocent human being and gloating, that's something that could cause an employer to say, man, who the heck did I hire? Does that kind of help answer your question?
I'd say so, Dan. I think you're, kind of taking it to, and you can correct me if I'm taking it wrong, more of a proportional response to something of, in the case of the Phillies fan, hey, let's expose, how rude and crude this person was in public. If it's someone, wishing death on others, let's expose them for what they are doing in the public sphere, but leave the punishment and, immediate response to those applicable. We in the public space don't get to determine what happens to them.
Exactly.
We can certainly expose it and share how foolish or how vile a person might be online.
Kurt, that is 100% it. That is exactly it. That's why I frankly, I don't know if you've ever heard on this show. I may have in a moment of anger. I don't call for people to be fired. I say, look, here is what they did. I think, hey, if it were me, this is a fireable offense. Like that Cudahy middle school teacher posting what he posted on Facebook. To me, if I were a member of that school board, if I were the superintendent, I would say, okay, this is causing me to think, should we trust someone like this with middle school students? Like, is this guy someone I want to be alone with kids? Right? Let's say there's the judge, the Iron County judge. Yes, I did make the rather crude joke that he looked like the bastard child of Chuck Norris and a feral beaver, which I stand by as well. He totally does look like that. He doubled down on, saying it's a good thing that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Do I think he should be removed from the bench? Maybe, if the people of Iron County believe that's a recallable offense. Yeah. Do I believe that he is now unable to fairly judge people who come into his courtroom? Absolutely. It's not for me, Dan O'Donnell, rando radio host, to determine what those consequences should be. But I feel as though it is part of my job to expose what's going on in the world around us. And part of what's going on in the world around us is truly depraved, awful discourse. Hey, Kurt, thank you. Seriously, man, that was a great call. You made me, you questioned my point of view by you made me better explain where I'm coming from by pointing out, hey, here's kind of a logical inconsistency. That actually shows you are a great thinker, and I truly was privileged to have you on, Kurt. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. I feel privileged to have been on and gotten a chat with you.
All right.
Have a good rest of your day, sir.
You too, my friend. You too. See, disagreement is possible. It is. He actually did make a great point. It is absolutely a great point. Let's go to Ross in Madison. Ross, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan, thanks so much for taking my call. I wanted to chime in. I'm Ross Brown. I was president of We the People of the Republic back in the day.
How you doing?
I heard well, I'm doing well. How about yourself, brother?
Not too bad. Boy, I haven't heard from you in forever. How you doing, Ross?
Well, I'm doing well. I'm raising a family, running a business, living life.
That's awesome.
I jump back into the circle of things, but abundantly blessed over here in Dane County.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But I heard you talking about Verify the Recall, and I couldn't resist but giving a call today just to provide some perspective on that.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate the comparisons to Verify the Recall with the list that's being talked about here today. And in some respects, I think it's a good comparison. I think that project for Verify the Recall was all about transparency and accountability and integrity of the process at that point as well, obviously, for the recall itself. But insofar that we're talking about transparency and accountability, I think the list that we're talking about here today is quite similar. I think it's also really important for people to recognize that when it came to Verify the Recall, that data was triple checked before we published anything out into the world. And I don't know about the data of this particular list. My hunch is that it hasn't probably been triple checked over. I don't know.
That's a very good point.
That's
a very good point.
And
well,
I
think
it's so important.
It is. It is, Ross. just real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just very quick. It is including.
I mean, go ahead.
No. I don't want to. I just from what I've seen, and that's a good point. Although I feel like I should share the show with Ross from Madison and what was it, Kurt from Hubertus. You guys have been spectacular calls. There are links to whatever horrible comment or screenshots of whatever horrible comment the person made. Okay, so in that sense, I guess it could be a different, John Stevens, right? Someone with a common name. Like we already saw, there was a poor assistant principal in Elkhorn. I must have gotten 15 times emailed over the weekend this horrible thing that she said. I thought, boy, oh boy, I don't think that's the same person. Sure enough, it was not. And that is actually, Ross, the biggest danger in this, that it's such a wide dragnet. And because it's basically being, outsourced to the internet, you have people who aren't working as hard as you and the other I Verify the Recall organizers did to ensure that accuracy. So that's a great point.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's just before anybody acts on anything that they see in that list, it's so important for us just to follow up and just make sure that we are making the right conclusions based on the accusations that may be made. So I just wanted to chime in with that. I completely agree. Hey, free speech is not the same thing as without consequence. Transparency and accountability are both good things. That's what makes a democracy strong, or certainly vital aspects of a democracy. So I think it's overall, it's a good thing that we're engaged in this, but I just wanted to chime in with perspectives of comparison here.
Well, I do appreciate you doing so, Ross. Thank you for everything you did on I Verify the Recall, and we do hope to see you back in the conservative movement. Got to step aside for a commercial break. Have no fear. We will be back in just 5 minutes. You are going to want to hear this. Tom Murray, former Channel 4 reporter, with just a beautiful sermon on Charlie Kirk.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Bound on 43, got some delays from the Marquette interchange up to Locust. You got a crash off to the left shoulder at Fond du Lac. Southbound delay starting at Capitol, continuing down to the Marquette on the 4394 southbound to Oklahoma. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
This week on Red Pilled America, what role has Hollywood played in American crime? To find the answer, we tell the story of how a musical movement born in the late 80s impacted urban America. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America, a storytelling show.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Grieve Law. If you're charged with drunk driving, you're not just looking at a ticket. You're looking at a permanent mark on your record that can affect your career and your ability to rent a car or travel internationally. Not to mention the classes you'll need to take or the ignition interlock device that you'll have to install. Your license will be revoked, and even with a work permit, you're one long meeting or traffic jam away from driving revoked and facing up to 1 year in jail. That's a lot more than just a ticket. And if you pay the ticket without a fight, you are agreeing to be on the hook for all of it. At Grieve Law, we believe one mistake shouldn't define your life. Our seasoned criminal defense attorneys focus on OWI cases with a track record of getting results. We examine your case, challenge field sobriety tests, scrutinize breathalyzer accuracy, and expose the weaknesses in the prosecution's case. If you have been arrested for an OWI, you're facing serious consequences. But with Grieve Law in your corner, you are far from facing them alone. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
So the Donahos invited us to dinner.
Hang on, honey. Hello?
Hi, this is Lori from First American Bank.
Whoa, honey, it's the bank. Listen to how real this AI voice sounds.
Hello?
Yes, hello. I'm calling about your First American Bank home equity line of credit application.
That is free.
Right? What do I press for? Representative.
Oh, you don't press anything. I'm a real person.
Now it's claiming to be a real person.
Wow.
Sir, along with First American Bank's best loan deals in town, we pride ourselves on providing impeccable personal service. That's why you get me, a real-life specialist, to help you every step of the way with your loan. Isn't that more useful than passing you off to an artificial intelligence chatbot?
What's 2 times 2?
4.
Who created the Dewey Decimal System?
Melville Dewey.
Limburger sandwich or cheese curds?
Oh, you're not dragging me into that one.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstandbank.com.
or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Advent, we help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine by getting your nose and throat working with our unique Advent approach that you won't find elsewhere.
Redefine Realty kicked off our Crave Genius inspired campaign with iNet. Real estate for winners. RedefineRealty.com.
Every home seller will win, achieving maximum sale price, and every buyer can win by simply outbidding competitive bids. Simply brilliant.
Marketing for winners. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because, big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Neglecting concrete or asphalt problems is like neglecting a cavity. It isn't going to fix itself, and the longer you leave it, the worse it is going to get. And the more it's going to cost to fix.
MudTech's here to save the day. 262-337-0934.
Eliminate unsightly, even dangerous concrete and asphalt problems while increasing your business's curb appeal. Safer, user-friendly concrete and asphalt costs less than you think. MudTech!
262-337-0934.
Better curb appeal brings more tenants, more customers, and happier neighbors.
MudTech! 262-337-0934.
Seal Coat makes old gray asphalt new again. Cracks and plow-bending potholes disappear. Trip hazards are quickly and inexpensively raised or replaced back to grade with MudTech. Having Wisconsin's premier pavement technicians repair the damage from washed-out concrete and asphalt will double the life of your pavement.
MudTech. 262-337-0934.
MudTech resolves every concrete or asphalt problem, leaving your pavement smooth, your life worry-free, and enough money in your bank to take the kind of trip you want to take. MudTechWorks.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
The NFL is off to a wild start.
Touchdown! Hit a Lambeau leap!
And the new season lives on iHeartRadio.
Fantasy advice and expert analysis.
We got you covered with the official NFL Podcast Network.
Games.
Got 'em.
Local stations bring you the action live.
There it is, recovered by the Steelers.
The adrenaline is still pumping as we hit a Monday Night Football doubleheader. And we've got 24/7 coverage of everything you love about football.
Just open the iHeartRadio app and search NFL to dive in. Offering one of the strongest lineups of talk show hosts in the history of local radio. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
Not everyone has reacted like an utter ghoul to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. In fact, the overwhelming majority of human beings have reacted with heartbreak, with prayer, reflection, with sorrow, with hope, and that gives me hope. So too does the fact that 37,000 applications for new Turning Point USA chapters have been filed since Charlie's assassination. And I am told churches were packed from coast to coast this weekend as people wanted to say a little prayer. Because this wasn't about one man. This was about all of us as Americans and who we are as a nation, as a people. One man, one pastor who did one of the best jobs I heard at summarizing all of this was a friend of mine, someone I'm proud to call a friend. Tom Murray was a reporter for Channel 4, today's TMJ4 in Milwaukee. He is now the pastor of the People's Church in Salem, Oregon, and he has gone viral for this sermon from yesterday.
This is one of those moments that
A lot of us will remember for the rest of our life, we'll remember where we were when we got this news that a voice for the Christian faith and a voice for conservative values had been assassinated. We've heard words associated with our country that we're not used to hearing associated with our country. Words like assassination and martyr. A martyr is a person who is killed because of their religious or other beliefs. Psalm 37, verse 32 says this: "The wicked watches for the righteous and seeks to put him to death." It both stuns us, but those of us who know our word are also not surprised that there are people who will stand up for their faith and will experience the worst that the enemy can throw. And here we are today, a young husband and father killed because he consistently and boldly spoke about his convictions surrounding faith and politics. So I believe what we can do today to honor this voice is by hearing from Charlie Kirk himself. And I want you to listen to a couple of these clips.
How do you want to be remembered? I mean, if I die, everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life. I don't know if you know this, but everyone dies. It's important to remind yourself of that. That you face God, the judge, and he's going to list everything you did wrong in your life. It's going to be a long sentencing hearing for me. But you get justice, which is hell, because that's what we deserve. Mercy, which is less of that, which I'll allow the theologians figure out what that is. Or grace. What is grace? Grace is something so unique, so different, so profound. Which is as soon as the sentencing is about to be ushered in, someone comes in and says, no, I will serve that prison sentence for him. I will go into the prison cell for him or her so that they can live forever. That's grace. You didn't earn it. You didn't check boxes for it. You didn't go park cars for a ministry and that gets you extra points to go to heaven. None of that's true. It's that it's equally accepted for all people that allow Jesus Christ to be your Savior, the Savior of the world, to be born new and to be completely and totally renewed. That's a gift that we must try to give all people.
It's legit. That's happening. A life raft in this just tsunami of chaos and disorder. So that's a really positive trend in the midst of all this. So that's my great hope is the spiritual hope that the young men that are lost, and if any young man is listening to this right now, like stop watching, stop, smoking weed, stop drinking endlessly, find yourself back to church. That will reorient your life and do what the church tells you to do, right? Find a woman, marry her, provide, have more kids than you can afford. That's my advice for young men. Yes. Don't play the victim, even though you legitimately can play the victim card on everything we've said. The mindset of a victim is parasitic to your soul.
What advice do you have for me as I move into adulthood in order to become a more informed and involved citizen?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here. And I have hope thanks to people like you. How old are you again? 13. Here's a couple things I want to encourage you to do. Learn something new every single day. And focus on what it means to be a good person and a person of strong character. Aristotle said that courage is the ultimate virtue. Without it, there are no other virtues. If people aren't courageous, you don't have honesty, you don't have justice, you don't have beauty, you don't have wonder. And so at age 13, I want you to commit yourself to a life of courage. Courage is doing the right thing when you don't know how it's going to work out. Courage is committing yourself to the correct course of action, regardless of the cost associated to it.
It's possible that maybe you've been on the outside. Maybe you before this week you'd heard the name Charlie Kirk and seen a video clip or two, but maybe you're surprised at just how massive the reaction has been, and it's left you wondering why. There are influencers and there are politicians and there are educators who are advancing gender confusion, broaden access to end life in the room as it's convenient, anything goes, no absolute right and wrong, and people who would have us believe that all young adults are bought into this woke ideology. But here's the thing, young adults are deciding that all those voices don't speak for me. And what they have found is that through Charlie Kirk and others, young people are connecting with the belief that society is better when families are stronger. Life in the womb is worth protecting. Hard work is good. Sin is destructive. And we need men to rise up to responsibility.
That is Pastor Tom Murray of the People's Church in Salem, Oregon. He was formerly an associate pastor at the Oak Creek Assembly of God Church in southeast Wisconsin. And before that, he was a reporter and news anchor with today's TMJ for the NBC affiliate in Milwaukee. I am also so proud to call him a friend. That was one of the most powerful sermons I have heard in a long time. I do have the entire thing posted. It is pinned to my X profile at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, formerly known as Twitter. We'll be right back in just 5 minutes here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Northbound 4145, 15 minutes between the Zoo and Good Hope at North Avenue. 2 left lanes blocked with a crash. 43 northbound at Fond du Lac, you got the left lane blocked with an accident, taking you 12 minutes up to Brown Deer. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Our American Stories.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll share the story of why Philadelphia Eagles fans pelted a man dressed up as Santa Claus with snowballs. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
Dan O'Donnell.